What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Two Dong Dylan
Hey.
and the Green Lantern of our Justice League, Charlie Hickman.
I assume that you mean the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. So screw you as well.
He
Oh,
means
Green
the one
Lantern's the
voiced by
cool
Nathan
one.
Fillion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's the cool one of the Justice League.
It's true.
Fair enough.
All right. Well,
More
we'd
of a
love it
hawk
if you
man.
guys subscribe so you could come back here and hang out with us every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic. We are ranking 10 movie injuries that somehow were not fatal. Now, Dylan is an expert at this topic, so he came up with 10 scenarios out of movies that probably should have killed people. So if you've never joined, what?
Well,
Should have.
maybe we should just call it. I'm not dead yet.
Oh, there you go. So if you've never joined us for any of our ranking episodes, what we're going to do is we're going to get 10 screen, we're going to take them, we're going to shuffle them up. They're going to come out time, and we're going to rank them just because they come out at one place doesn't drift up or down. But this should be a fun one. We're going to have Dylan, because we can't show the clips because A, there's copyright things, and B, it could be free. Came from Dylan. Dylan, in all of his narrative genius, is going to give us quick explanations of
Emphasis on
deaths
quick
as we go.
Right. That's right. Now, folks, these aren't deaths. Actually, you keep saying deaths.
Oh,
They're
yes,
not
yes. I'm
actually
sorry.
deaths. They are, and they wouldn't be even if they were gory. They're not too graphic as the person lived. So it all turned out okay. And in some cases, they walked away. They were fine somehow.
That's true.
Out of nowhere. So injuries in movies that should have absolutely killed the person, and in many cases, off they go. Bro, what do we have?
Right, well,
Let's see.
Let's go to the list. We're gonna give a rundown of everything that we're looking at as they come out. Then we'll give a quick. So first off, we've got the hanging of Carl Vrensky from Die Hard. We've got Tony Stark crashing in the desert, Iron Man. We've got paint cans to the face to Harry and Marv from Home Alone. We've got the hand removal, Hannibal Lecter from Hannibal. We've got the flight suit crash from Batman, the Batman. We've got the bus flip with Sarah and Kyle from Terminator Genesis. We've got the nuclear explosion that Indiana Jones survived in Skull. We have so many car crashes in John Wick Chapter 2. We have the mid-air bike collision of Ethan and Sean from Mission Impossible 2. And we've got the falling building with Natasha in Black Widow.
That's right. Excellent. So we're gonna
guys ready for this?
Together. Oh yeah, all totally ready.
Got a strong candidate in my mind for number one.
How are we doing this? How are we judging it? Just based on how much it should have killed somebody versus not?
I think that's a fair assessment, and I'd also like to throw in exactly how fine they were right afterwards. Did they limp a little bit? Did they dust themselves off without a scratch and continue to fight? Were they, slightly injured? Maybe. Well, we'll put that into our consideration.
I have actually I created an algorithm, and I inputted. I don't want to bore you guys with the details, but there was like 22 different input factors. And so I have like a specific percentage that I've attached to each of these scenes and the likelihood that it would kill the average, just like an average healthy adult person. So I can share that data with you as we go.
Excellent.
Nice.
I love a good
All right.
spreadsheet.
Well, let's go ahead and shuffle these up. That was fast. Right.
Wow. Computers, man.
All right.
Really
so
for the percentage, that's cool.
Computers, man.
Brain is a computer.
Speaking
All right, so
of
first up,
brains,
got Harry and Marv.
Harry and Marv in Home Alone. Kevin McAllister decided in his infinite sadism to tie strings to paint cans onto his stairwell somehow, whatever he did. and chucked them at poor Harry and Marv, and it hit them full in the head. Has anybody ever? I mean, if you've ever painted before, even if you walked by somebody painting and you picked up that can, those things are not hollow, empty. Like they're not marshmallows. They are very, very dangerous. And if you get cracked in the face with it, it's going to do a lot of damage. Also, by the way, they fell off of that, well, the stairs. They were halfway up, cracked full in the face. They didn't even think to hold their hands up. Yeah, this is bad. Charlie, what's our percentage on this?
The average person has a 62.3% chance of surviving this, depending on several factors, including the speed and trajectory of the paint can and the direct area of the face that it hits. We're talking a nice even split versus like an upward trajectory into the nose bone. So this one's in the bottom half for me, but still, yeah, this in combination of all the other things they suffer. I mean, these guys are dead for sure.
Very dead, yeah.
Yeah, paint cans are heavy. I think especially if you took it square in the face and your nose in front of it, it would hurt a lot. But would it kill you? Or no? I think
took it square in the face. Now let's all just remember that the nose is made of cartilage. If it gets hit with something, it'll smash. It's not going to go anywhere because it'll just cave right in. Unfortunately, your skull would probably get caved in too. So even if you do not die, especially with the lack of medical attention that they get, you're probably going to be exceedingly, exceedingly injured. Now, this is also, I agree with Charlie in the bottom. I'd say 9 or 10.
I agree.
Should we start with 9 or start with 10?
Yeah. Let's start with 9. Let's start with 9.
Give us some wiggle room.
All right, next up, Hannibal Lecter.
Now, in this, Hannibal finds himself, he's drugged Agent Starling, and he has killed another agent or whatever he was, played by Ray Liotta. And
R.I.P.
Right. And so Clarice handcuffs him to played by Julianne Moore in this one. She handcuffs him to something or another, and he is not going to be able to get out. So in order to escape the FBI or whoever's chasing him, he literally, with a hatchet, cuts off his own hand and does not immediately seek medical attention. Now, let's also remember that he is actually a doctor, but you would very, very quickly, I'm sure, go into some kind of shock, and it would be difficult to operate on yourself. Charlie, what's our percentage on this one?
Well, I thought this was going to come in at a much lower percentage than it did, but once I started inputting data from the movie 127 Hours, it became apparent that this is a survivable case of, depending, of course, on like some sepsis and shock and some blood loss and things like that. But this came in a little higher percentage here. So my cousin cut off his hand once, but he got medical attention right away, and so you're gonna find my cousin. I have several cousins that have done a lot of these. So throughout the episode, you might hear me reference some of these clumsy cousins. Man,
is this the same one of your cousins that died by falling into a pool? What do they call a pool cover?
No. That was my friend's cousin Herbert. You're thinking of my cousin who was impaled by a beach umbrella that was blowing across the sand. You gotta watch out on a windy day. But anyway, this was a chainsaw accident in Nebraska. But he survived, but he did get medical attention right away. So this is a bottom half for me. 72% chance of survival. If you get medical attention right away, that number continues to drop the longer it takes you to get to a hospital.
Wow, I thought this was going to be a lot lower too.
Or to get to something really hot, so you can just stick the nub right on something.
Got to cauterize
it all.
Title of Brody's memoirs, the cauterize that nub.
This one's pretty low for me. I think the biggest thing would be the loss of blood, right?
And shock. Shock is good.
Shock, but I mean, he's not going. He doesn't get medical attention. I mean, a lot of things happen after. So I think that percentage just keeps decreasing. So I'm comfortable putting this below the Pesci line.
You think 10?
What say you? Oh no, I mean like
above.
on the
above
the Pesci line.
Oh,
like
let's
lower number.
Let's start with 8.
8? Okay.
Oh, I love this one.
All right, we have the midair collision with Ethan and Sean from Mission Impossible 2.
I've done this. Go on, explain it to the people. But
So, folks, at the just about the climax of Mission Impossible 2,
the
for some
hour-long
reason-
climax.
yeah, the hour-long
whole
shootout
movie's one
climax
long
fight.
climax, baby.
That's actually also true.
Just step on the gas and never let it up.
At the very end, there's a whole big melee until there's only, Tom Cruise's character and Doug Ray Scott's character, or Ethan Hunt and what's his name, Sean Ambrose,
Sean?
and they find themselves staring each other down on opposite ends of motorcycles, and they decide to drive those motorcycles towards each other. Head-on collisions, by the way, folks, are the deadliest kind, but they doesn't stop there. After this, they decide simultaneously to jump off of their motorcycle. And I love this. They're still flying through the air, and they smash into each other. And somehow they're still okay. I don't know how this happened. They must have been going 60, 70 miles an hour, but they go in there, and that hug is strong of friendship. But it doesn't end there, because then they fall off of a cliff that must be at more than 10 feet, and which is a story. So they've fallen up. They have collided on a head-on collision and fallen at least off a one-story building, just to be able to get up and actually continue fighting as if nothing happened. I love it. Is it camp? Absolutely. What percentage have we got here, Charlie?
Well, okay, so the computer spit out 2 percentages. Number one, real people, we're looking at like a 4 to 5% chance of survival. But once you add in the Ethan Hunt factor, that number jumps to a 100% guaranteed survival rate.
That makes sense.
Of course.
That makes sense.
Of course.
That was such a great the bicycle joust.
Oh, I love that.
That was wonderful. When I was a kid, I thought I cracked the code. If I was ever in an airplane that was crashing, all I needed to do was just jump out before it hit the ground. Like how is no one else figured out?
You'd be fine.
I'm out of the plane. I'm totally safe. The plane crashed. I didn't crash. I jumped. I'm fine. I can leap off my 60-mile-an-hour bike as it collides in the bike. I'm fine. I made it off the bike. The bike's crashed, not me.
I'm not going 60 miles an hour anymore.
Flawless logic. I challenge you to disprove through demonstration my logic.
I watched the GIF of this as I was putting this together, and man, it looks like it hurts so bad. I mean, they collide so hard in midair.
It's one of those where like they should have liquefied. But
Tom does all his own stunts, so they really did
absolutely. That's absolutely true. Very true, folks.
All right, where are we putting this?
I'm good for a 3 at the moment, but it could go
3
higher.
Is good for me. 3 or 4 is good for me. It could push high. I don't remember. Some of the other ones in here are really ridiculous. So
oh man, look like it hurts so bad. Yeah. All right, next up, John Wick Chapter 2.
John Wick Chapter 2, car crash. And you know the messed up thing about it, in the very first scene, all of these car crashes, some of them, John Wick doesn't even have a car. In fact, most of them, he doesn't even have a car. He's getting hit by cars. I remember watching this, thinking to myself, his legs have got to be broken, right? Like, they've got to be broken, right? And they're going fast. And I'm like, he's in the hospital at this point. He's got to be in the hospital. How is he getting back up? And he's still fighting. Another car just hit him. I don't know. I have been hit with a car, as a matter of fact, folks, and it was my own car.
It's true.
And
it's true.
Somebody was driving it, and it was not that fast.
Hey,
and
can we put a link to Dylan's Very Bad Day video below?
Please do. But either way, the point is, Charlie, what's our percentage? Because it's got to be low. It's gotta be.
It's so many car crashes.
It's a lot of car crashes. Really, you could just put the entire John Wick franchise into this slot. But I do appreciate, especially in 3, it looked like the beatings were really taking their toll. It made it make less sense that he was still winning all the fights, but I just felt for Keanu. He looked like I feel sometimes in the morning just getting out of bed. So it's just like dragging old bones around. I mean, sure, he'd been shot a bunch of times, but I had to wake up. So,
Right?
no, this is a pretty low percent. This is a pretty low percentage. This is like in the 20s. I got this. I got this to the right of Mission Impossible, but certainly to the left of Hannibal Lecter,
Yeah.
somewhere in that 4 to 7 sweet spot.
I was
And
thinking
then
like
si-
5, maybe 5 or 6.
I'm good for
That's
5 or
good.
6.
Yeah,
5
for now, let's put it in.
or 6. Well, what do you think? Is this like top tier or bottom tier?
I'm trying to remember all the.
We'll start with 5. We'll start with 5.
All
go
right, all right.
5.
We'll
We'll
start with 5.
I know. There's 3 that I think that might be competing for that top line, but we'll get there.
I know there's some. All right, next up we have The Falling Building, Black Widow.
Wow.
I didn't even know how to put this one into a computer. I didn't.
I mean, I was really having trouble with, like, because there was the falling building, and then there was the time she fell off of a building and hit things on the way down, which I was just like, this. But this one is so much more over the top. She falls off of a aircraft that's like a flying city. At least it's got to be as big as a building. Just with all of the debris alone and the confusion and just how I'm sure it is like if some sort of an air crash is crashing, it seemed kind of like she was trying to take Charlie's logic and put it into her own thing. And it just
Flawless.
each time I was like, and she's still alive. She still seems okay somehow as she's getting hit and running into like debris, like
And
fatal
glass.
debris.
It was glass everywhere. Just
Glass
flying
that's
through the
all
air,
over.
giant hunks of glass.
You'd think that she'd have to put on like goggles or something to see, because you can even see her hair is whipping all around. It still looks nice. It still looks great. But how and she's somehow holding on to the building. I don't it's baffling. Charlie, what kind of a percentage did we get a percentage on this one?
No, I just got an error, a big error message. Giant aircraft carrier city breaking into pieces. And the worst part of that whole movie is that it made her death seem that much. I mean, like that much worse. Like that she's just like, oh well, I'll fall off this ledge and I'm dead. But I can survive an entire city aircraft collapsing and all the, it just didn't have the same weight to it. Like,
Well, and
like
she
I was looking forward to it.
she also like hit the ground and then was just like instantly back up, wasn't she?
Yep.
Yeah,
She,
yeah.
It was like
She's
nothing.
fine.
Like she
She's
might as well have like fallen off a slide or something.
she stepped off of like an escalator.
It's you have to ride it's the way you use your body's
Dismount.
momentum in connection with the force of the falling to like circumvent the gravity. That's how it's done.
And
Yep.
this is physics right here, folks.
This is
You're getting a physics lesson right here.
I got a doctorate in falling building physics, and let me tell you, this scene holds up pretty well. She's definitely dead. I would put this
Yeah.
probably top 5 for me. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Or is the ridiculous of it push it lower because it's just not as clean
It
as
is
it
quite ridiculous. I mean, in the
It
grand
is.
scheme of this list. So but does that drop it? Because we're looking at a comic book movie versus
Yeah.
type of movie.
Well, and when you watched it, were you saying to yourself, "Wow, cool, okay," or were you like, "Oh, come on"? Because I was not really the first one. I was kind of the second one, where I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And she's still alive. Really?
Yeah, I was watching this thinking like, so
How?
how is she
How?
supposed to survive this?
Yeah.
Like,
How is this like a thing? There was no chance. The computer said so. I mean, like, I'm good with
Okay.
lower. I'm good with lower 5.
So do we go higher, or do we go like 2, or do we go like 4? Or is it down at like a 6?
I think 4 is good for now for me, but I'd be amenable to 6. I don't think 2, just because I know what my top 2 are, but I could be persuaded.
Well,
Oh,
let's
we
put
can
it
start
at
with
4 then,
4.
bro.
Start with 4. All right. Well, following right up with Tony Stark crashing in the desert. Iron Man 1.
I remember watching this in Iron Man when he escapes. He is not obliterated, but he has destroyed a lot of the weaponry that was there in captivity. He's escaped. His partner in his escape passed away, and he was upset. He shot his way out, and he flew into the air and crashed immediately down. I remember being worried about that. I was like, and he hits the desert floor, and his suit immediately falls to pieces.
It explodes.
Two
It
pieces.
practically explodes.
It does, but he's fine somehow. This thing was able to withstand like bombs and guns and fire and all of these things, but things that a human can't, and that's fine. I get it. There's a logic there, except for the ground, and then the human is okay, but the entire suit that's indestructible falls to pieces, which I always found very odd. The only thing was like his arm was in like a sling or something, which Charlie, what was the percentage on this one?
So pretty low percentage. We're looking at about a 7% chance of survival until you factor in the mustache. That mustache bumps that statistic up to about a 25%. Watch out, Dylan.
Sorry.
So I think
Thing
this
winked
one.
at me.
Look, Dylan, you've been in a lot of car accidents. You've crashed your car, I think, 7 or 8 times. You know that the machine can crumple around you, and you're fine. You get out. You're like,
true.
Hey, no problem.
Listen.
Violent racetrack collisions, and then
Have
the
you
drivers
ever-
get out like.
Have you ever just kind of pushed against a car? The car moves. Like you push it and the thing folds in like aluminum. How hard can that possibly be?
Yeah,
it'll fold around you like aluminum foil.
That's right. It fits like a suit made of
Moving
iron.
It's nanotech foil.
He had a lot of shock absorbers in the suit. That's my point. A lot of foam padding to absorb the blow. So look, all of these should have resulted in death. So put it where you want. Everybody on this list is dead.
I will say this. I like this one. I like this one a lot because it made me actually wait, until it burst apart. If it hadn't burst apart, I probably wouldn't have been like, what the hey? Like it burst to pieces. So
well,
I appreciate.
I think that it's funny because he hit sand, like sand is a padding. Like he just kind of gently just kind of fell into the sand. Like no, sand is hard, man.
Yeah,
like you're slapping that sand hard. You're not falling into pillows. You're not falling into bubbles.
But you are okay. You did not fall to pieces. Not like your suit.
Yeah, he just kind of takes off his mask and is like, "Yep, all right. Well, that was fun.
Fine. I'll get up. I'll walk it off."
Have you considered the mustache?
Oh yeah, well that's and it's RDJ. Come on.
True. All right, where are you guys thinking?
I would put this one at top 5. I would put this at 4. And
oh, really?
Black Widow down. Yeah, I like this one a lot. This is a good one. You guys disagree?
I would watch a Black Willow cross up, like mashup, like a Black
Willow.
Black Willow.
But yeah, no, that works for me. But put this one up there and then push everything down. I like making Brody do more work with the mouse.
Yeah.
So anytime we can move multiple things, I think that's always a win.
We have to, make use of the fact that we can shift these things around like we promised people.
That's right.
We promised it. We can't just take it back.
So we're saying that Tony Stark's crash would more likely kill a person than Black Widow.
No, we're not saying that. We're saying we like this one better because of how it made us feel, bro. And because I appreciate it because I
see Black Widow's death or lack thereof feels like the kind of thing you watch and you like maybe you're 1 or 2 beers in, you're like, I could do that. Like I could jump rock to rock and I'd be fine. I can survive a falling city.
I've often thought that.
Yeah, you're like I could do that. Fine. Get back.
Well, because we're building this list around what would more likely kill somebody versus what somebody could survive, right?
Well, if you want to swap that, I'm happy. You can swap Widow and Stark. I'm good with that.
Yeah, if it was survivability, that's the only one that made the computer break just about.
It's true. And it may even
But
go
I mean,
higher.
I would.
Maybe
But I mean,
maybe it goes higher than the motorcycle crash. I don't know. It's
But
just
if you
such an
wanted, if it,
implausible scenario. It's hard. It's just hard to
it's
gauge.
really true. And bro, if you wanted to switch it, I'd be okay with it. I was merely giving my
I think Brody
opinion.
wants this #1, but I don't know.
You want Tony Stark
Well,
at #1?
I
He
mean,
wants Black
just
Widow
just
#1.
thinking about what is survivable, like, because it. Yes, Black Widow fell with this building, but she didn't actually get injured, right? And
Which
I
she
guess
really should have. She should
I
have
guess
been very injured, bro.
we're
She
we're
should have been
looking.
mashed
necessarily.
potatoes before she got to the second
you-
pile of debris.
Have you fallen from the sky, Airship City before? You don't know.
No, that's true. I have not.
Well,
I
but
don't have a
if
doctorate in it. I don't have a doctorate in it.
if we are ranking injuries that should have killed people, technically she didn't get injured.
Unscathed.
Bro, just because I mean that doesn't make any sense because in that same scenario, we don't see any injury from the paint cans on Marv and Harry. Whereas that
Yeah,
really
his nose was all.
That
He got a
should have
mark.
busted his face, bro. His face should have been caved in. Maybe all right. Hey, maybe it's unlikely that it would have killed him, but I'm telling you, it still is a bad injury. She must have gotten injured. Her muscles should have been torn to pieces. Anybody's muscles should have been torn to pieces facing that kind of zero gravity, like as you're in a free fall, holding on to a building and then jumping to other buildings. How many injuries does this poor woman need to have?
How did we not have Statham from Crank on this list, man?
Oh, that's for the next one.
Yeah. Bro, I gave like 30 different
He gave me a lot.
choices.
This is going to be a series of videos.
It just popped in my mind because you're talking about falling and he like lands in the ground and then they made a sequel.
He was like
Alright.
from the motorcycle. He was standing on a motorcycle as it was going. Yeah. Oh,
All right.
that
Well,
should be on there.
Well, put it where you want, bro. Put it where you want.
No, let's just leave it as is for right now. Well, let's keep moving and we can adjust.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have the bus crash with Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese.
I did not
Terminator
include
Genesis.
I didn't include the T-800 because either A, I don't know if he was thrown out by then, or B, he wouldn't. If he was injured, it wouldn't really matter because it's not going to be fatal. He's the T-800.
He's also a robot.
He's the T-800. What are you gonna do?
Which is a robot. That's true. However, this bus must have flipped about 20 times over the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, folks, I had a friend of mine who was in a car accident. Taka, actually. Taka was in a car accident. And it turned the car around. Just that. It didn't flip. It didn't move. It didn't get like completely smashed in or anything like that. But it turned around. And he had to be airlifted to a hospital because he for emergency surgery. And it was just because of that. This thing flipped so many times. They should have been dead. They should have been dead several times over. Charlie, what's our percentage on this one?
Well, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but Taka doesn't watch the show, and I've met Taka, and
that's also true.
He's no Reese,
or
so,
Kyle. But he is a bit of a Sarah Connor. That's true.
He's a little bit, but
well,
no,
she's really tough. He's not that either. No, I take it back.
every flip lowers the percentage. Now you start to input other films like Speed, other bus-based films. A lot of good bus-based movies out there. The Magic School Bus with Miss Frizz.
Definitely.
You start to get a lot of different kind of informational inputs, and the percentages start pretty high with that first flip. Oh, everybody's fine. 80% chance of survival, but then it just keeps flipping. And the more that it flips, that percentage is lower. So we end up at about like a 35% chance of survival. Simply because you can't kill John Connor, or Kyle Reese. These people can't die. It's destiny. The Terminator franchise has established as canon that nothing can ever change no matter what you do. So it's just regardless of whatever you do, you can't kill him. Can't be done.
You haven't seen the movie, have you?
Genesis? I watched the bus crash scene.
I don't blame you, man. It's tough to get through.
Do they kill Sarah Connor?
Really,
they don't kill Sarah Connor.
No, they don't kill Sarah Connor.
But they do change the timeline. They change the timeline completely.
Yeah, but in a way where everything still happens, right? Like the robots still take over the world. They don't take over the world.
Not
The
yet.
Terminators don't exist.
Well, I mean, I guess they kind of do. It's a big mess of a movie. It really, really is. But I
All
will
right.
say, you say they can't
Well, I
kill him.
confess that
Usually, Kyle Reese
I did. I
is
put the wrong information in the computer. In
it's
that
a.
case, chance of survival is 10%. I reran the numbers.
Now, this would go kind of
If
low.
Destiny's not on their
'cause
side, it's low.
I would put this one low because I was just kind of like, are you kidding me? Come on. Talk about plot armor right here. I didn't buy it for a second, and I knew they'd just get out and be fine. They didn't even pretend to be injured.
Not even
They
a little bit hurt.
Not even a little bit. They got into a bit of a crash in the original Terminator, and Sarah was like dragging her leg, and Kyle could barely walk. This thing flipped so many times, but they're okay. I would put this at like a 10. This is like a 10 for me because
It's to
come on.
remind you, if you're watching this and you haven't seen some of these movies, you do not have to watch the whole movie to
Yeah,
see these
no,
scenes
not
we're
at all.
talking about. You can just
Not
find
at
all
all.
these scenes on YouTube. We're big fans of the tube, so you can pause this video right now and load up the bus crash scene from this movie, like I did, and just watch that and save yourself having to watch the entirety of.
I forgot this kill until I was researching like fatal injuries like this, and I just barely remember watching it at all. It didn't leave a mark. That's why I'm like lower, like a 10.
What are we?
I took
What are
the
we
bullet
putting at
for you
10? Do
folks.
you want to put this one at 10, or do you want to put this one at 9?
Okay, well, I could put it. I could put it at 9.
7?
This would be
What-
low.
This
Yeah.
would be 9 or 10 for me because I was just kind of like unbelievable.
Like
It's-
they
I
were
felt
totally fine after this. And
Yeah,
I believe that this hanging shot of them is directly after this bus thing where they're hanging off of a bridge with Sarah like holding on to Kyle.
which is also completely impossible. It would be
Reese.
impossible either way if Kyle was holding on to her holding on to Kyle. Either way, it would be completely impossible. In movies, they always do this where it's like so easy to just hold somebody up while they're hanging in almost a free fall or catching them in the middle of a free
Yeah.
fall.
After a huge bus crash.
Cliffhanger.
After a
Cliffhanger
huge
with
bus
Sylvester Stallone. Watch
There you
that
go.
intro. You tell me it's
Oh,
easy. If
jeez.
Stallone can't do it, no one can.
Exactly right.
All right, so
So-
what are we thinking? Are we thinking 10
I
on this
said-
one then?
Yeah,
I
put
was
it at
thinking-
10.
yeah, put it at 10. It's ridiculous.
Get it out of here.
Ridiculous. Get it out. Get it out.
And plus, then it
Aha.
looks like she's looking at Pesci, and Pesci's looking at her.
Yeah.
She's like, did you just get hit by a paint can?
How are you above me? I
say
flipped in a
paint
bus
can?
20 times. The mother of dragons.
All right. Next up, we have Carl from Die Hard.
Oh gosh.
Now, Carl he got beaten to a pulp by
Oh,
John McClane. And then John McClane wrapped a chain around his neck and then swung him into almost the middle of the room to where there was just a wall, a smooth wall for him to hang on. And it's not even like when we see John running away that we get to see him like trying to get out. No. He's hanging there dead, just like dead as dead. How he could have somehow regained consciousness while his air supply is still cut off, I do not know. Charlie, what's our percentage on this one?
So I rewatched this movie recently, and I forgot. I remember the scene, the how ridiculous this was. I remember that very vividly, but I forgot how long they had left him hanging there because he kills him, sends him across the room. They go up on the roof for like 5-10 minutes for the next scenes, and then they show people running down, and you can just see him still hanging in the distance. He's just still lifeless and dead there, and then at the end he pops up with a machine gun. There is a 0% chance that anybody can survive this. The amount
He's holding his breath for about 10-15 minutes after John McClane has made mush out of his ribs that's holding his lungs. So he's beaten up and he's hung him there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this one, we watched him die. We watched him die, and then somehow he got himself down and was just okay.
He had some more burns on his face, probably due to the explosions that he somehow also survived. The entire roof blew up, but he's okay. He's fine.
Okay. Fine. That probably jarred him loose and helped him regain his consciousness.
After 10 minutes. I'm not saying it doesn't, it's like, all right, I am saying it. No, you can't do it. Impossible.
I know.
What do you,
I know
what do
we
you
have a
think?
lot of Hollywood types that watch this program, and I want to throw an idea for a short film out there. Like maybe Pixar could tackle this.
Oh, that'd be yeah.
All I want to see what happened between him just hanging lifeless for there and then getting so show the explosion. The chain snaps. He wakes up on the ground. He's like, "Where's my machine gun?" And
Where's
then he
my
like,
machine gun? They're not
I,
going
I
to notice this as they help me out. I'll
I
just
would
stuff
watch
this
the
right in my
crap
pocket.
out of that. So someone make me an edit. Come on,
All right, what
Hollywood.
do we think? This is like 1 or 2, right? Is this one?
This is my number 2, but I'm willing to negotiate other spots for you guys.
I'm fine for 2 at the right
We,
now.
we
I'm
can
fine
start
for
it at
2.
2. That's
Yeah, yeah.
all right. Next up, we have Indiana Jones.
Wow. Now, in this, Indy finds himself in a nuclear testing site, and they have stocked this thing so well there is a lead-lined refrigerator. Now, let's pretend that the nuclear explosion isn't going to incinerate this refrigerator into soup. It then blows this refrigerator 50 miles,
So far.
50 miles,
It went
maybe.
flying
So
so far.
And how fast? 100 miles an hour? 200 miles an hour? And it didn't, we also see it, it didn't just land and stick, it rolled and rolled and rolled. As we recall from our physics instructor here, that's not something you can survive when it comes to things like cars, buses, or refrigerators. Charlie, what's our percentage?
But before Charlie gets that, and then not only that, but then he just gets out of the refrigerator.
He does
and like
himself up.
and like he might have had a limp as he like walked away, but that was
He may
it.
have had a small little cut. He may have had a cut. It hurt his feelings. It cut him, and he was okay. He got up and he looked at the mushroom cloud instead of being soup in the mushroom cloud.
Just absorbing all that radiation as he just watches.
The radiation as well. As he watches, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about the radiation sickness that somehow he just avoided. It was the lead. It protects Superman from kryptonite, and it protected Indy from nuclear fallout.
All right, now I went above and beyond in this one because not only did I input data points into the computer, I looked up research into this very subject. Could Indiana Jones have survived the nuclear blast? And according to Professor E.L. Matthey, who's a scientist who researches intermediate energy of nuclear physics, the lead would be completely liquefied in this explosion because of the proximity of how close it was to the blast. So he would have just melted into the fridge and just been like a pool of soup. Now, had he been much further away, the blast could have dissipated and the fridge might have protected him from some of the gamma rays. But he would have had to been a lot further away and not launched in the air, and the fridge would have melted, and it would just been a soup, Indiana soup.
Yeah.
So there's like a negative number attached to the survival rate of this one.
So this is number 1. This is number 1 then, right?
Yeah.
I think just the fact that every time this particular one has popped up on the screen, we all giggle a little bit means that this is number 1.
All right, next we have the Batman with the flight suit.
Now, I'll say this. I was rooting for him so much. I was like, this is nice and grounded, and it seems very realistic. And I'll tell you this. I love the fact that as soon as he sees that drop, he isn't all cool and stoic like Batman. He's like, because I was like, no. I'm like, don't do it, Batman. It's just, things will work out. Have a discussion. He takes out his flight suit. He flies down and he hits, what is that? Like an overpass? He hits
like an overpass, and there's like a bus too.
And a bus, yeah. He hits like a car on his way down, and he hits the ground very hard. And I thought
so hard.
I thought he was dead. I was just like, when he first hit the overpass, and I was like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. This is how they're gonna end this. Whoa! And then he hit that bus or the car, and I was just like, "There's no way. There's no way." And then he hits the ground, that concrete, so hard. I was like, who's going to be Batman? Who? Because I haven't seen him train anybody. There's no way. Like, what are they doing? This is a very bold way of going. It's only his second year as Batman. Charlie, what's our percentage of survivability?
This is a low percentage here. We're looking
Yeah,
now. Look, it's Batman, so you have to put that into the calculus.
that's
here
true.
because
That's true.
you can't kill Batman.
Because it's
So
Batman.
because it's Batman, so like a 15% survival chance here with Batman in the equation. 0% chance if no one did it. 5% chance if someone with a really good mustache did it.
Nice.
I
like that.
remember
That's good.
watching this in the theaters, and this happened, and I just went like, "Oh my gosh!"
5%, you get 5% if you have a good mustache. I love it. I'm gonna grow a mustache right now.
Hey,
Just in
Could
case.
Robert Downey Jr. have survived that? Yes. Tony Stark would have been fine.
He would have been okay.
But yeah,
This is like
I saw this and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like he's got to be dead. Like
yeah.
it was such a violent hit.
Yeah.
And then like he gets up and like he struggles to get up at least and kind of like wanders away. Probably no idea where he is.
Yeah. He had to have had a severe concussion.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still curious how his head isn't soup because it really should have been 3 times over. But it's Batman.
This is actually one of the hardest lists we've ever done because
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and really you could, outside of my strong conviction that Indiana Jones needs to be number 1, you could really shuffle these up in any kind of random order. Do we need to attach this next to the Iron Man crash? Should those be?
I was gonna say this would probably be this would either be 3 or 4.
Well, let's put it at 4 and we'll push down the other because that Mission Impossible 2 one is fantastic. And they did it on purpose. That's the best part about it is that they did it on purpose.
And also the Mission Impossible ones, they're not wearing helmets. Like
no helmets.
at least Batman has his cowl that is like
That's true. That is true. That's very true.
Ethan Hunt and Sean, no helmet, just riding as fast as they can with no helmets, hitting as hard as they can.
Now, his chances of survivability would have gone up if it was like a Tom Selleck, Magnum PI with the mustache.
It almost was. That's one of the parts that got away.
All right, so that's the final one. How are we feeling about this? Is there anything that we need to move around here?
No, this is good. This is good. I like this.
I like the look of this.
Like this?
Yeah, this is good because the ones that are in the upper tier are entertaining in a fun way, whereas the ones in the lower are a little bit more like, come on.
Yeah, man. Get mine over here. Yeah, I like it.
All right,
Brody,
so
you feel good?
Yeah, I do. It's hard, I mean, for everybody, like, obviously, we're just having fun with this. Yes, we're comparing Harry and Marv getting hit with a paint can versus Indiana Jones surviving a nuclear blast. Like, yes, these are not even comparisons. We're just having fun. So,
yeah, we couldn't have, if we're going to do this, we have to have some that are not nearly as severe as the other ones.
Yeah.
A nuclear blast or a paint can.
All right, well, let's go ahead and list these and finish this thing up. So at number 10, we've got Sarah and Kyle surviving multiple bus flips in Terminator Genesis. Number 9, we have Harry and Marv surviving the paint cans. Number 8, we have Hannibal Lecter surviving a missing hand. Just hatcheted it right off. Number 7, we have John Wick surviving multiple car crashes. Many car crashes. Number 6, we have Natasha surviving a falling building. Number 5, we have Iron Man Tony Stark surviving a fall from a great distance in a suit he made in a cave. Number 4, we have the Batman surviving a very violent collision with an overpass as he jumps from a building. Number 3, we have Ethan and Sean, as Dylan put it, not getting liquefied as they hit, going so fast, not wearing
They
helmets,
hug each other.
and then falling down a cliff.
Power of a
Number
hug.
2, we have Carl.
Carl.
There's so many names. Number 2, we have Carl surviving, dying by hanging, and then just coming
Literal
back.
death.
And then
With his
number
hand in
1,
the
we have Indiana Jones surviving a nuclear explosion by jumping in a refrigerator.
A
And-
red-lined refrigerator.
And on top of that, he was able to get out of the refrigerator. Refrigerators back then, they latched. You get there was a big thing where kids would climb in these
That's
things and then they
right.
would die because they would not get unlatched.
They
So
suffocate.
somehow
Yeah.
he's not only survived the nuclear bomb, he also survived the refrigerator.
Sure.
All right. I feel good about this. This was a fun one.
Yeah.
Like Dylan said, he sent me a whole list. So this may become a new series of injuries
Yeah.
that people somehow survived.
And with that
In
in
movies.
mind, let us know as you watch movies. Hit us up on the email at talktalkpunch@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can send us some scenes from movies that you like. You can comment below this video. Let us know some movies that have some ridiculous they should have died, but they're not really dead yet. I'm not dead yet scenes. And we can put together another great list. As always, thank you for watching. Click that like and subscribe below that beautiful beard. And we will see you next time here at TTP.
Bye.
Bye.